All right, to start out putting the roof on your vacation house, many people believe they should have to open the roof plan drawing. But when you do, you'll notice that it is blank. You do actually start with the ground level. When you click on the roof tool, it will ask you, hey, you're putting the roof on the ground on the lowest level. Would you like to move it to roof? And we're going to say yes. It's kind of a weird, quirky thing about Revit, but until the walls are attached to the roof, we won't see them in that roof level. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say yes. Everything kind of goes blank, and you have a set of tools very similar to floors. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first just slap the roof on the way it's intended to be used, the tool. So we're going to go here, here, as I click each one. You'll notice mine is offsetting 2 feet. The offset setting is right here. So if yours is only offsetting 1 foot, make sure you change it to 2. I'm going to go all the way around the house, except I'm not going to follow this wall because you'll notice I have a covered porch area. And if you're required to have a covered porch area, you're not going to want to include this wall or this wall in our tracing. When I include this wall, you'll notice my shape does not close completely, which I do need it to do. So I'll use the cornering tool, much like I've used the wall tool, to go ahead and click these 2 areas and make a corner. Now, if I do just this and accept it, it's going to ask me if I want to extend the walls to the roof, which I do. And then it's going to look absolutely no different. The views that have changed, though, are my 3D view. I now have a roof on my vacation house and my roof plan. Now, as I look at this, I have some very complicated roof pieces. I have one that's a trapezoid, one that's an irregular 5-sided shape, one that's a rhombus, two that are triangles, and one that's another irregular shape. Okay? If I was building this as a model, this would be a very, very, very difficult roof to build. This is why, even though we're not building this as a model, I will take points off if you just slap the default roof on and don't make any changes. Because one of the reasons that we do this now is to train ourselves for later. So we want to make some changes to this roof because this is way too complicated. And frankly, it's not very realistic. Okay? Now, there's a few ways I can do this. As I am now in the roof plan, I can click on it. I'll see the wall edges that are now attached to the roof. And I can click Edit Footprint. One of the things you'll notice is I have these slope icons by every single line. This means that all of these edges, the roof slopes towards this edge. So I can change this. So if I want to have my roof slope, my roof ridge run this way, what I will do is I will take this one and tell it to not define the slope, okay, which I can check off either here or here. I can click this one, and again, this time I'm going to use the other one to not define the slope. And when I accept my changes, now you'll notice my main ridge runs front to back. Now I've got this weird section now. If I look at that 3-dimensionally, again, not very realistic how it kind of merged those together. Okay, so I can start to now mess with this. But frankly, I'm going to tell you that having a little bump out like this makes it so that I should really look at a different approach. So I'm actually going to go to my roof plan. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to delete it. Okay? And it looks like I got rid of the walls, but I did not. I am now starting over. Okay? What I actually want my roof to do is I want a main ridge to run front to back like this. And on this little section that sticks out, I want a little small ridge to run back and join in. I can do this by creating 2 separate roofs. Here's the process. I'm going to take the roof tool, still move it to the roofs area. I'm going to still do my boundary lines with a 2-foot offset and selecting the walls. 2-foot overhang, sorry. I'm going to click this one and this one and this one and this one. I'm going to click just those 4. I'm going to then use the cornering tool to make a box. and accept it. It's going to attach the walls. And when I go to the roof plan, I've now got this. Now, I don't want these to be hipped ends, so I'm going to edit the footprint. And I'm going to go ahead and undefine the slope there, as well as here. If you're wondering, couldn't I have done that before? The answer is yes. Okay, and now when I accept it, I have my one main ridge that goes front to back. But you'll notice I have a section of the house, especially if you look at the 3D view, I have now a section of the house with no roof on it. Okay, I am now going to go back to ground level. I'm going to go with the roof tool again. This time I'm going to pick this edge, this edge, this edge, and it may seem weird, but I'm going to pick this edge right here. I'm now going to go with the cornering tool. Once I click modify, cornering tool, and I'm going to extend this one all the way up to here. It's going to form the back of my rectangle. You'll also find that I want to keep this and this so that I have this small rectangle here. I'll want to take the slope off of this edge as well as off of this edge. So it's just sloped this way and this way. I'm going to accept that, extend the walls, click over to 3D, and you can see what we have. So right now I have a small gable on this end, which is exactly what I want. However, if I pivot this way, you'll notice that I have a hole right here, and all the rain and snow that goes on my main roof section now just flows right into this bedroom. Okay? Not really what I want. So I'm going to go back to roof plan. I want to now join these two roofs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of the roofs, and right here next to the cope tool where it looks like a little roof from above, it says join or unjoin roofs. The little simulation shows you exactly what we're going to do. So as I click this tool, I want to click the edge, one of the edges where the two join. You'll notice it's just picking the one edge. And then if I stay here, it starts to pick this face that I also already overlap. So I'm going to click a second time, and it will join those two. So now when I look at this from my 3D view, I have a big ridge that runs front to back. I have this small gabled end that now sticks out. This is absolutely 100% the most realistic way that this roof for this particular house would be made. Okay? And I'm expecting that you do the most realistic roof you can. Okay? When we look at this from the top, I have a rectangle. I have a rectangle with a portion cut out of it. If I was making a model, I'd actually just make a second rectangle. And then I've got two rectangles that have one point drug out to make a peak. Okay? This is the simplest roof I can possibly do on this shape of a house. Okay? Now there's one thing that is not realistic, and that is when I look at my 3D view, I have this covered porch area where the end of it is just kind of hanging out. That's not the way that would go. I would have what's called a column right here to hold up this corner. We don't have loose corners of roofs just hanging out. Okay? So the way we're going to put this in, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in 3D view just because it seems easiest. So I'm going to click column. I'm going to switch to have the pipe that is the 6-inch standard column because it's wider and it's going to look a little better. Okay? I'm going to place it on the corner of my concrete slab here. And for whatever reason, it likes to put it in upside down. Don't know why, just does. So when I click on it, and I've got base level, it's attached to the ground level, the base of it, the bottom, this end right here, but it's 9 feet below the ground. Okay. The top level, ground level, no. I don't want it attached to the ground level. I want it attached to the roof. So I'm going to switch that to roof. That has to be my first change. You have to do these changes in the order I'm showing them. Then you can go to base offset and click 0. And what that does is it gives you this column that holds this roof edge up. Now it does look a little funny in that it barely touches that roof edge. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to offset it 6 inches. My computer dinged at me, which means I didn't have the number highlighted all the way. And that puts it up 6 inches, and you see kind of merges it into the roof. If you want to mess with that to get it to go perfectly, looks like I could actually extend mine slightly more, but it merges into the roof, which is fine. It gives me the look that I'm looking for. Okay. Now this roof I did accidentally as just a generic roof. Most of you are going to want to change yours to a wood rafter 12-inch asphalt shingle. I'm putting this at the end of the video to make sure that everybody's watching the video all the way through and still doing everything and not just answering questions. So make sure you change that, because if I change this, as many people like to do, my 3D view is fun to look at by going to edit the graphics display and changing to realistic. You will see that my roof now looks like a shingled roof with my column there, with my whatever I've put on the outside as my exterior wall, and this is the way yours should look. In a future video, we're going to create specific types of drawings called elevations, where you're going to be able to see that you've added your roof like you were supposed to.